Well, guys, you haven't heard from me for a while. I've just been sitting back and watching the crap show unfold. Um, it's amazing how many things that we've been yelling about for the past year and a half are all of a sudden being found that is true. Let's say I was told a year and a half, for a year and a half. Oh no, the contamination couldn't got to the wetlands. What do we have now? We have contamination in the wetlands, but they're trying to say it's legacy. It it may not have nothing to do with the derailment. I like how they always put that may not, or they put that wording in there just to be vague. But it's just something a little different. You want a more, you want a more kick in the face. Move this, thank you. Can't see. Vogel, report into EPA Region 5 Administrator. That's so she took Mark's place. And, if you didn't need anything else, to show that basically they don't give a crap about you here. They don't give a crap about what happened here. That should be, at least another reason. If not the so much the bow on top of the present. This is my understanding. This President Trump did this. Okay, now I don't like to get political in my videos because I think both sides are garbage. There's good and bad in both sides. But the big thing was, the sun's in my face. I'm sorry, guys. Big thing was, Trump gets in office, he's gonna fix everything. He's gonna make everything right. Here, okay. I ain't talking about. I don't want to get into other crap. What's happening across, United States. Here, what has he done? He appointed, okay, in my opinion, I got to put this in there. One of the people that helped cover up the contamination and the exposure that was happening to the residents here for the longest time. Now, my thoughts on that is she has proved herself that she can keep her mouth shut. You don't want to put somebody in there that's going to maybe open up an investigation or start putting some documents out or so. You want somebody in there that's going to keep their mouth shut about this whole, incident. Why not? Put her in there. She's proven that she's kept her mouth shut. Where she's been. The last time I seen her was when I asked her about the creeks, and we'll clean them up. We'll clean them up. That's what it's fitting to be down here at the creeks making this video. Because they're not clean. They never will be cleaned. They left it go for over 2 years because they wanted to wash downstream. That's it. They wanted to wash away. If it's not in East Palestine, it's not their problem anymore. It should never took a year for them to even get started on it. But, it was all, we had to get work orders together, and that shows how much of a priority, your health is and your safety is to, a government agency. At the meeting in town, EPA didn't have the authority to tell Norfolk Southern they weren't allowed to lay down tracks on contaminated soil. What? You're the EPA. How could you not have the authority to say, hey, there's chemicals everywhere. You can't put new tracks down over this until you clean this up. Well, we didn't have legal authority. Well, if that's the case, then I would get rid of the EPA. What are they here for? They find a company, Conyers, Georgia. The battery fire plant, $61,000 fine. That's nothing to them. What did Norfolk Southern get fined? Pennies. You know, if you ain't gonna have somebody, agency around that's going, you know, maybe first, I wouldn't say 3 times would even be too much, but maybe, you know, hey, you know, you do it first time, you get this. Second time, fine's a little higher. Third time, fine's a little higher. Fourth time, we're going to pull your license, or you ain't allowed to operate for so long until you can prove that you can not pollute the environment. No, they give out petty fines, and these companies just keep on polluting. Look at the cracker plant down there. What was it? Within a couple of months, they exceeded their emission limits down, you know, for pollutants in the air. What they get? A fine. It didn't hurt them. They're still doing what they're doing. So I'd be okay. Get rid of the EPA. If they're worthless, if they're not here, you know, to actually protect the environment and protect you, what do we need them for? You know, that's just my thing on it. Just from what happened in the past, you know, 2 years and what's going on now. What else do I want to complain about? I know you guys haven't seen me for a while. It's just, I had to take a break. You guys just don't realize how mentally stressing this is, what this was, and still is, to listen to people's stories day after day of them being sick. And then you got people being up there, higher officials up there, not even advocating for the sick residents. There's nothing said about them. You know, no, not everybody's sick. You know, not everybody's body and genes and everything works the same as everybody else's genes. That's what makes us all unique. We're all different. You may be fine. Your neighbor may be sick. You know? And it just makes me, you know, they know what they did here. Why did they want to fund another government health study? How many health studies do we have going on now through universities? They know what they've done here. You're a lab rat now. You know? That's all it is. They want to see what the outcome is, so they know what happens next time. They know how to cover it up a little bit better. You know, it's just still costing Norfolk Southern money, and that's what I've been trying to do, and that's what I have been doing. We're going to have a video coming up of, you're going to get a little joke out of this. The way they check the streams for Sheen. I didn't personally witness this because I didn't go to that stream ambassador thing, because I just fed up with the way, you know, everything's being treated. They wait to watch our videos that we put out, and then they spot clean that area. We were also, well, I wasn't told, but it was also said that we go too deep into the sediments, so we're getting into legacy chemicals. You know, if I'll get rid of Vogel, but just because I don't want to see your face anymore, even this area right here, I have plenty of pictures from this area. This was once a humongous hole. This island wasn't here. You know, it was a humongous hole. You step in it with boots, it'd go over your at least your knee length boots. It would go over it. You could walk through no problem at all. Now, the stream is ever changing. You know, it changes from month to month. I mean, I can show from my videos how much it has changed from month to month. We're going too deep, and we're getting into legacy. You know, this sounds like a cover up to me. You know, don't want to admit that, you know, we still have a problem here, but you know, what are we going to do? But I just want to say, you know, just with that appointment, and, you know, Vice President Vance now, but was Senator, you know, I understand as Vice President, he is under the President now, so he's kind of limited on what he can say, because I look for him to try to run for President sooner or later. So, you know, you're kind of limited in what you want to say if you want to keep good people on your side, I guess. But check out his interviews from when he was senator, when he was here, and then when he was just here in town on the anniversary. Two totally different things. even the EPA director, he didn't say anything. It's just nobody's coming to help you. Nobody. You've written to your senators, you've written to your representatives. They know what's going on. The railroad company has such a pull in influence in Washington D.C. that I'm sure if you would check Trump's campaign records, you might not find Norfolk Southern on there. You might find one of their parent companies on there that they have donated money, under to his campaign. You want to keep big companies happy if you want to keep them on your side. When you're a senator, only your state votes for you, so you have a little bit more room to open your mouth and say, hey, this is wrong, this should be done. When you're president, vice president, president, you have the whole country voting for you, so you got to keep a little bit more people on your side. That's just my view on that. Like I said, I don't like to get political, but that should have been the icing on the cake right there. That shows they don't care. They could care less about you. 4,000 people, perish. They don't care. I think there was this one website. How much is your life worth to the government? And you'd be really surprised. Not much. They'd gladly do away with you to save money. And this whole them saving money thing, that they ain't gonna give no fucking health care to people in town. They want to. They're saving money. They're not gonna hand out health care. So you're on your own. I've been listening to that new podcast, that Unchained one. I may be on there eventually because I have little be known. I have never shared. I shouldn't even say this, but I don't give a shit now. I was down at, physically in the derailment site the day after they did a vet and burn. It's amazing what a fluorescent vest and a hard hat will get you into. I have never shared what I have personally witnessed. I wish I could have videoed, but somebody walking through there with a camera, no matter if it's a body camera or a phone camera, is very noticeable. So I was not unable to film, but the stuff that I witnessed down there with supposedly the EPA oversight going on was disgusting. I've never shared none of that stuff, what I've seen down there. That may be coming out, in the future. I don't know. Will do anything? No. But it'll just go to show that, how much they really, cared. We know what the deal was to get the rail lines open as quick as possible. It wasn't to mitigate a disaster or, save lives or however they wanted to put it. It was just to get the rail lines open. So I just wanted to comment on that. I seen that, and it was just like disgusting because she's been non-existent since last time DeWine here was in town. Where's he been? Hiding like the rest of the freaking fools, because they know what they've done here and they know what's coming out and what's still being released. There'd be some interesting stuff coming out here within, with involving other government agencies and how much they were coached on what to do here. So, keep a lookout for that. But I don't know, guys. Now in a coffin. That's what it is. They've sealed your fate. Let's promote the criminal. The big cover-up person. So we don't put nobody else, in charge up there that might be, a little bit more on the people's side and want to, investigate a little bit more. Hey, it is what it is. All right. I'm gonna get off 15 minutes. I don't know. Stay tuned. We're not done exposing these fools yet. It still costing them money, and that's my whole goal. It's the cost of money. You're not going to leave here until, well, until EPA allows, enough for you to leave here, which is what they're trying to do. They want to be out here by June, and they're really pressing to be out here by June. You can tell. Most of the creek stuff now they're saying is legacy. Uh, I'm sure there is some. In here, there's any waterway you go into, there is some, but there wasn't that like oily sheen everywhere that you can still find easily. So stay tuned, guys. We're still going. Had to take a break, but yeah, it's getting summertime. Time to start back up again. Maybe start causing a ruckus with some people in town. I mentioned some kind of financial info that may be released sometime or another. Maybe stay tuned for that too. You might find find that interesting. I was told some names on there, and this has nothing to do with the relocation cost and who really who got relocated and how much they were paid or nothing. This has nothing to do with this. This was money given out as I call as a hush money. That's what I call it. But stay tuned for that. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.